high-speed trains standing still. Massive traffic jams outside Paris, transportation in chaos as strikes run into the weekend. Polls showed a strong majority of French citizens supported the strike as it began. Over 800,000 people took part in nationwide protests on Thursday. There's widespread popular discontent with the Macron government, and pension reforms are always a difficult sell in this country. The present scheme allows some workers to retire much earlier than in other European countries, a popular feature. But the government says changes to the system are necessary and inevitable.
Citizens know that the hugely diverse nature of the current 42 pension plans cannot continue. The French people know that one day we'll have to give up these systems that don't make sense anymore.
Macron was elected on promises to make the French economy more competitive. Unemployment has come down, but many say they feel a new sense of uncertainty. They say the proposed pension reforms are another example of out-of-touch government policy-making. But unions risk losing public support if people get tired of the disruption caused by the strikes and demonstrations.
It's just another wasted day, like yesterday. You can't go to work and you can't go to school. I won't be able to catch up. That annoys me, actually.
Disruption is expected to continue over the weekend, and unions are calling for another day of mass protests on Tuesday as they test their mettle against the government and public patience.
And for more on the story, we're joined by Lisa Lewis, who's in Paris. Lisa, we're seeing another day of nationwide strikes, protests with unions as well as the Yellow Vest protesters. But things have been relatively calm until now, haven't they?
Well, that's right. But as you can see right behind me, there's heavy police presence here at this demo by the CGT union, one of the far-left unions here in France. They are demonstrating against the recent labour market reform, unemployment benefit reform, but obviously also against the pension reform. It's a big picture, they say. Emmanuel Macron, the president, they say, is taking apart our social security system. Elsewhere in Paris, you have another demonstration going on by Yellow Vests. I have heard that the Yellow Vest protesters try to join this demo. They're kind of conflicting reports. So some say the police have prevented them from coming. Some say they didn't plan to come. But in any case, you have lots of police everywhere here in Paris, and authorities seem very afraid that there are more clashes today.
OK, now the trigger for these protests, as you were saying, pension reform. President Macron says he's simply trying to simplify France's notoriously complicated pension system. So why is it people are so angry?
Well, people are really angry and they're really afraid. Many people here have told me, you know, the plan, Emmanuel Macron's plan is to bring together 42 pension systems into one single system. And they understand that the current system might not be sustainable in the long run, but they just don't trust the president to do the right thing. They think that he's just going to take away from those who are already struggling to make ends meet, and then the rich are going to be even better off. And they understand that the system needs to be reformed, but they don't trust him to do the right thing, and they want him to actually make something happen so that those who earn less will actually have more when they retire, because some people are really struggling even today.
Who do you think will back down first? Will it be the protesters or will it be President Macron?
Well, President Macron is determined not to back down. He knows that this reform is crucial for his time in power. He thinks that he needs to carry out the reform to satisfy his core voters. When he came to power, he was appealing to people from the centre-left and people from the centre-right. But now left-wing voters have largely lost confidence in him, and he knows that he needs to satisfy those who are asking for more reform. And that's why even members from his government say that if he doesn't manage to push through this one, the pension reform, that he will have very little chance to get re-elected in 2022. So he doesn't want to drop the reform, but he also knows that if the strike goes on for weeks or even months, that might really have an impact and that he might have to back down. So he knows that he needs to negotiate and talk to unions, and that's what he's trying to do. The government will unveil the details of the reform later on next week, and we'll see what they say.
All right. Lisa Lewis reporting from Paris. Thanks so much for bringing us up to date.